You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
This is a late night edition of Zoom the TBT of Charge and Hayner. We are doing our best impersonation of the Tonight Show. Charge, we're keeping up late. Sorry about that. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Quite the day of TBT, so we'll dive into some of that here shortly. But yeah, interesting happenings today.
Yeah, definitely some crazy stuff. So let's get into a little bit of sort of what's happening. Let's go ahead. We got a little bit of graphics tonight. We'll get into that. So first of all, we were a little delayed tonight. We're about 22 minutes late, mainly because, in all honesty, an MMA fight broke out in Wichita as the defending champs get upset at home by Jayhawks Hoops. So, Charge, your initial thought was the team showed a lot of fight, both basketball-wise and otherwise. That last shot was a crazy shot, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Frank Mason has not. I mean, if we're being honest, he has not been great in this tournament. Has not shot well in this tournament, but kind of coincidentally going against Marcus Keene tonight has kind of turned into Mr. Elam ending in TBT 2026. Hits his third game winner in a row for Kansas. Got a great matchup. The open shot went for the kill and got it. So, I mean, it was a big time shot and, it was a kind of wild and crazy game.
And that game leads us to this bracket. We have 6 teams left. We're going to have 4 by the end of tomorrow night. We have the Aftershocks going down. The champs, again, do not repeat, and they are out to the Jayhawks Hoops. La Familia beats a undermanned Boeheim's Army. And briefly, we want to talk about that. Charge. I still believe Boeheim's is a better team. They just lack the horses. They lack numbers. Do you think if they had a full complement of players, they're the ones playing next?
Yeah, no, they just needed one, and I wasn't able to watch that game, so I don't know why Wes Johnson didn't play. He was reported active all along. That whole Ja'Cory and Chris getting hung up on Puerto Rico obviously was detrimental. So poor Boeheim just didn't have enough horses to run in that game. They just needed one person, and I think that game definitely would have turned the other way.
Absolutely. Definitely would have. Okay. Well, so we got 6 left. I've been obviously, based in Las Vegas. I have one more day here. I'm going to see the semis. I fly out for the final. So, Charles, let's get into some previews real quick. Let's talk about this Alumni Final on Wednesday night. I'll be watching this on a Delta Airlines flight, actually, oddly enough, going back to New York. I'll be watching this on television on my probably 33F chair in the very back of the plane. But we got Jayhawks Hoops with the upset over to go to La Familia, to go play in Kentucky. Looking at stats, Charge. This looks like basically they're going to go as Archie Goodwin goes. How big was him coming back to the fold for these last 2 games?
Yeah, no, these guys were dead in the water, I think. I thought after the Louisville game, they pretty much kind of ripped their hearts out. And, I think Louisville would have won that last game in Kentucky if Goodwin didn't show up. So obviously a lot of drama around that, but he came up big. And so, huge addition and will be a key. And I think they're a little bit deeper down the roster, which I think is going to come in handy as they head towards the finals. Kansas isn't that deep, really relying on 4 players. So I think as long as everyone plays, Carly Stein's healthy, these guys are going to look really good and getting good contribution from their non-alumni guys as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's a good one. Came back. There was a lot of drama. There's some things said, it sounds like, and then of course they ended up coming in and just being an absolute killer on the ball. No, looking at this though, obviously looking at this team, we've got a lot of good scoring here from Goodwin, Marcel's contributing, and Willie Cauley-Stein's ability to play defense against KO and really affect shots to the rim. I mean, he's playing some fairly limited minutes. Actually, these minutes per game from their stat page don't seem to be very good because it says 43.
Yeah, I guess their stats are wrong.
Stats are wrong from the stats page. We took them off the website. That's
on
fine.
The minutes, yeah. TBT's got to fix that. Zero chance they're listening, but the La Familia Boeheim's game something inflated in the minutes per game because as much as La Familia would like Archie Goodwin to play 81.5 minutes a game, it probably felt like he played 81 minutes against Louisville last game.
3 of them. 3 Archie Goodwins. That'd be a really good team, actually. 3 Archie Goodwins.
Yeah. So that's a little goofy with the minutes, but the rest of the stats are right.
Now, with the Jayhawks Hoops team, it's a little bit different on the stats. These do not reflect today's game. The game literally ended, 10 minutes ago? But obviously, Mayo and Mason have been carrying the load here, scoring-wise. They're getting a lot. They're playing good, looks like 10 guys, but the big minutes, they're playing 4 guys over a third of the game. So they're really not a very thick team, basically. How good has Mayo and Mason been as a backcourt, though, in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They're just getting hot at the right times. I mean, both of them, have stepped up when they needed to. Zeke Mayo, I mean, he may have played his way in to all TBT consideration. 25. I can't remember if he scored at the end, but he was at 25, really close to the end of tonight. Had 25 the other day. Obviously, he was the guy who carried him and hit big shot after big shot until the Elam ended. But and then I mean, Billy Preston's just scrappy. I mean, he don't see it as much on paper with some of the numbers or the fantasy numbers, but just scrappy. And Jacob Hanna was one of their kind of big non-alumni guys, and I think his defense on Marcus Keene tonight is can't go understated. He really changed the game and shut Keene down for the most part. He was phenomenal.
I mean, shutting down Marcus Keene, Marcus Keene's been a killer in this event for years. So shutting down a guy of the quality of Marcus Keene, TBT's MVP last year, champion, one of the best scoring small guards in college basketball history. Shutting him down means Jayhawks Hoop is for real. And it's weird to have a program as storied as the Jayhawks play road to Wichita and also play road to Kentucky. So it's interesting that they will have 2 true blue bloods. I mean, a Kentucky-Kansas alumni matchup, that's a dream for your college basketball lifers, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, TBT got what they want. I hate the way this game went down tonight. I guess the rules are the rules, but I just don't know how that went down, and
that
people who were ejected crazy. And people who weren't ejected, and I get it, but yeah, just felt horrible. It just didn't feel like the right way to kind of end a TBT game in a semifinal matchup. But yeah, I mean, TBT's gonna love this matchup. They'd much rather have Kansas playing Kentucky than Wichita State. Obviously, Lexington had the home court advantage already, so trying to push a game to Lexington anyhow. And so, yeah, they definitely got the home run they wanted from a matchup perspective.
Yeah, funny story on the Merc side of it. I've been talking to most of the teams we know, and one person who will remain nameless had mentioned they were rooting at Syracuse, not because they don't like the guys in Syracuse, just because the travel was going to be one of the worst cities to travel to. Because there's no direct flights to Syracuse from here. You get directly to Lexington, you get directly to Wichita. You can't get directly to Syracuse from here. I know that's where I flew in from. Okay, so let's quick prediction. We're just doing a quick reaction show tonight. We're not doing a full preview. What do you think? La Familia, right? Too much good.
Yeah, I think you have to. It's just one of those ones. I mean, Kansas has used all their lives. I mean, Purple Rain somehow squandered 2 leads, and then now you got the gift of the ejections that kind of got them over the edge here. Without the ejections, I think Aftershocks wins that game. KJ Peterson is much stronger off balance and would have supported Keene, and so they got the advantage. And so I think La Familia is the better team in the tournament thus far. But these guys, if they have 9 lives, they've only used 3 of them, and so they got to maybe have 1 more left in the tank for the next round.
Yeah, only need 2 more wins to get there. Okay, so Charge, we're both getting La Familia, but it could be a close game. It'd be a lot of fun Wednesday night on your Fox network. Should be a lot of fun. Make sure you watch. Okay, let's get to the fun part. So Vegas has been incredible. I was actually the War Ready game today, where they won a game that involved absolutely no shooting whatsoever. At one point, their opponents were 1 of 22 from 3. You can't make that up. Gotham shot the ball very poorly, and Dakari Tucker was like 1 for the first 3 quarters. But they came on late, played some defense. They made War Ready work. So look at this matchup, Charge. First of all, Davis is the old Everline drive. They made a final last year. They've made the Final Four the last 2 years. They've made 3 Final Fours, 2 finals. They're knocking on the doorstep. We actually have an interview we'll be releasing tomorrow with myself, Jake, and Matt, talking about the Davis Steel drive in Vegas. But one thing I noticed watching the game earlier with War Ready is they're a really good team. They're feisty, they're physical, but they gave a lot of open, good looks to Gotham and cash them down. So if one guy can cash open looks in TBT, I believe his name is Gabe York, correct?
Yeah, Gabe York obviously has been the player to TBT thus far. Davis Steele has the advantage of not having to play the extra game by winning the pool, so this is only two game sample. But obviously, he's just been dominant. Davis Steele continues to kind of get some balanced minutes. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. When a little more to games on the line, who they lean on. Obviously, they had got challenged by Gotham City
Yeah.
Bockers, which we
Yeah.
and then blew out the K crew. So I don't know if that's an advantage, disadvantage, but I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. But I'm sure Davis Steele, they've been not their first rodeo, will know to line up and know how to position themselves to win here.
Definitely. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting game. Obviously, looking at these stats too, you see Gabe York, 23 a game, really a scoring high. McGriff, Taylor supporting Bradshaw. Even the thing that amazing about this team is you have a guy like James Roos who scored 20 a game for West Virginia last year. Happy of a roll off the bench, happy to contribute, comes in still dangerous in limited minutes. Terrell Brown only scoring through a game, dangerous in limited minutes. Like they have options they haven't scratched yet. So even if they can contain York, I really doubt you can contain all these guys. And it is public, but we can go ahead and say it. There is another all TBT player in the building because Anthony Clemens will be active tomorrow. So you're going to have Clemens, who is an all TBT level backcourt, joining York, Taylor, Reese. Because what they need is one more scorer, right? Church, what are you going to do? I mean, Clemens, just one more guy to use, right?
Yeah, and I think that's one of those ones that they'll need to figure out how to be up to minutes, who's getting the ball, who's gonna kind of lead that. Sometimes we've seen the NTBT as a little bit of a problem, where everyone wants to kind of be the lead dog. Davis has managed it very well in the past, so we'll see if this year they can continue to manage that the need for all those players to get action. Clemens hasn't played yet, so does that lead to anything where he'll kind of obviously probably come off the bench? I think that probably goes without saying, but how will it ease him in and kind of not break any of the rhythm they built up so far?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that have to be in consideration. That rhythm they did against the K crew, I mean, they were up 30 at one point. They really had a rhythm. Now, what raised a bit of a different story? They're replaying basically everyone. Coach Mellon Morrison's really decided to go with a deep bench, but their scoring is probably Wendell, Green, Lane, Cumberland, and Robinson. So they're getting a lot of points off their, out of their guard play with some really good 3-point shooting out of Sledge as a stretch four. But in all honesty, like, are there too many mouths to feed? Like, are there too many players being played for War Ready?
No, I think that's what you'll probably see now that the games are. I didn't watch this game earlier, but I think that's what you'll see as teams advance. They'll kind of shorten that rotation up a little bit, and so I think they're going to be all right here. I mean, those are pretty much spot minutes. They're not kind of splitting anywhere, so I think they'll find the right mix and prioritize and. But this really is kind of the same thing and probably going to be the difference maker. And then Dominique Jones did not play today. I don't know if he'll be out again for the next round, but I think the depth of Davis is going to be what stands out here in this matchup.
I don't even know if Dominique Jones is still in the building, to be honest with you. I heard he might not be here anymore. Okay, so anyway, looking at this team, very talented, obviously much more. I think they're a little more physical than Davis. They definitely get after it a bit. But I was concerned. I thought they played well in many ways, but two things they didn't do very well is they didn't shoot particularly well. The only reason their shooting numbers didn't look terrible is Gotham literally was laying bricks the entire game. I mean, it was horrendous to watch from the line. Gotham got great looks and just could not cash them. And Dakari Tucker is a great player. Had by his standards, a terrible game. By his standards, by his lofty standards. And then they weren't there, but they gave up a lot of clean looks to Gotham. If they give up that same quality of looks, if they don't close out the 3-point line on York and Taylor and Reese and Clemens, they're going to have a real problem, I think, stopping Davis. You think Davis just got too much shooting, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're deep, so I think if they don't figure it out defensively, this could be a tough game for Red Rose War Ready.
Yeah, I mean, they're a solid team. The one advantage they have, too, is Davis was on the kind of quote-unquote weaker side of the bracket. So their two games were against teams that weren't as solid, I think. And all teams here are good. All six were solid, but they weren't as solid as War Ready, Heartfire, and the Mecca. Like, basically, I think three of the top four on the other side. So they weren't really punched in the mouth. Something I talked to Jake and Matt about in the series yet. So if Already comes out physical and really literally tries to make this a bit more of a fight, I think they got a shot to pull an upset. But unless they can really turn this into a drag out fight, I don't think Davis is losing this game. So are you both going with the Davis Everline, boys?
I've been high on Red Rose War Ready from the start. I just got a good vibe about these guys this year, so I think those extra games played are gonna pay dividends, and I'm gonna go with a flyer here and take Red Rose War Ready over Davis and in a shocker.
Okay, so we finally disagree. We've been agreeing a lot this season of a shorter bracket. Okay. Well, there we go. So we split this one. Davis got already. Both really quality teams. That's 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific. I will be there tweeting and making snide ass comments the whole time as usual. But yeah, it should be a really quality game. And the nightcap, Heartfire, coached by Michael Reniak of D3, of a very deep roster of elite guys, Heartfire guys, The Shine. And then, of course, you got the Mecca with your favorite player, as always, in TBT, Casper Ware. Let's start with Heartfire real quick getting into this. So obviously, same sort of story, balanced minutes, but the scoring is going to come from Sears, Mack, and Washington. Cantor's always been also very useful as a big. How do you feel their depth can go ahead and start to work teams?
Yeah, I think, they made a good adjustment with Sears. So most of those minutes for Sears came in the second game. The first game, he was a little bit underutilized. I think that's one of those ones they, got lightning in the bottle in game 2. Obviously, if Sears didn't do what he did, this may have been a little bit of a different outcome for Hot Fryer. The nice thing is everyone advances, in some form or fashion. But I think they figured some things out and came out extremely strong with their rotation, who they're going to play. But that's a solid top 4 up there when you kind of look at Sears, Mack, Washington, Cantor, a lot of experience in the tournament. I think that's going to be pretty impressive. And then you still have veteran depth. So these aren't guys who are going to panic, get a little nervous out there. I mean, you still got Griffin Sword, Marcus Hall. These guys have been there, so their bench is gonna keep things stable. And this is a team that just doesn't panic. They've been in a lot of holes and a lot of different times. Mike's coached a lot of teams in the not a lot of teams, a lot of games in the TBT, and so he's kind of a calm and cool guy. So I think that first game against Red Rose gave him a little kind of bite there, kind of shocked him a little bit. But I think they're going to make the right adjustments and they're going to look really good in this next game.
Yeah, I think they've got a really quality lineup. I think having all these different players, Michael Reniak has had a little bit of time, I think, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, because they had such a deep team and try to keep everybody a little happy while getting their minutes. But, I mean, they've got guys like Michael Kaiser's a quality big playing limited minutes. You got Marcus Azor, a quality guard, playing very limited minutes because they're so deep. And because they're professional and they have a winning pedigree, all these guys get the deal, and they're actually going ahead and checking the door and really playing hard together. So I think this is a really high-quality team. Now, I was impressed with the Mecca, though. Let's talk a little about your boys. So, first of all, I've barely gotten to see the LA Cheaters sort of Drew League legends, which I think are now being read mostly as the Mecca, live. And you've always told me how you're the captain of the Casper Ware fan club, and I am now up there with you. He's incredible. How do you know Casper's career so well? So you were a big fan of his, and having watched him live now, I can see why you're a fan. He's electric.
No, I don't know where. I just watching TBT all these years, he's just one of those kind of standout guys, always in the mix, contributing, just a good brand of basketball. And so I just remember watching him in the earlier days of TBT and was just kind of fascinated by the game and the work ethic out there. And so it's just always been one of those guys I look for every year. So no surprise that he stepped up, and the guard play always kind of dictates a lot of what happens in the TBT, and so he filled that role. And I think the story here though is Marvell Harris, who I'd have to fact check myself. I think he may have been on an all TBT team once, but I'd have to look.
He's been solid.
So he's still got a ton of gas in the tank, and so hitting that 14.7, all 8 Elam ending points yesterday was pretty impressive. And these guys kind of always hedge on a little bit of the older side, but they added a little bit of youth this year, so a little bit of extra pop. But these guys here, Carter stays out of foul trouble. He's a load. So this is going to be, I think, another great game. I mean, every single one of these non-alumni matchups in Vegas have been coming right down to the wire. A few points here, a few points there. One exception, but the rest have been just amazing. So I think this is going to be a dogfight, and can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I think very similar ones. I think the Mecca's been great. I've been impressed with how physical they've been defensively too, because from like a pro-am style league with a lot of these guys playing, expect them to be that physical, but they've really, they've used their hands on defense. They've taken the physical challenge of other teams and really aggressively gone after people. So I think in that respect, they're not going to back down from Heartfire, but I think the talent of Heartfire is just a little bit too much. I see this to be a very close game. I'm going to go with Heartfire Elite. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Heartfire. I think they've unlocked something with Sears that they didn't have the first game, and it really gelled. So I think they'll go back to the well, kind of lean on what worked in game. That would have been game 2, right? Yeah, somewhere around game 2. And, with the experience and the coaching on there, I think they pull it off. But it's going to be, I think you're going to have another Elam ending finish that's right down to the wire, next bucket wins type of game, and it's going to be physical. These guys are going to get after it.
Definitely. All right, so just to scrub the list real quick, let's go back to that original slide, go all the way back. Let's talk about what we're doing here. But we're going to go ahead and talk about our picks real quick one last time. So what you've got here is, so you're rolling with, we're both rolling with La Familia. You got War Ready, I got Davis, and we're both picking Heartfire and a Squeaker, right?
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay, so there you go. La Familia, Davis, Heartfire for me. La Familia, War Ready, Heartfire for Charge. Charge, it's been a wonderful tournament so far. It's been abbreviated, but it's been pretty wonderful. I know you got to get to bed. This is past your bedtime. Thanks for being a good co-host.
For an old guy like me.
I know. Well, I need to go to bed too relatively soon after I, spend 4 more hours a week in Vegas. But real quick, closing thought. How have you enjoyed the tournament so far with the new format? And we'll let you go.
Yeah, no, I thought that, like I said, we talked about it on the last podcast, the new format's been awesome. I think they're getting what they want out of the alumni games. I think the high-level talent of the Mercs has lived up to the billing, and so one of those Mercs, been traveling, paid big money. They're going to get a chance to play for $2 billion here in a short time, and the alumni side is just playing out exactly how TBT needed it to. So the key's going to be trying to grow it next year, and hopefully they can grow the alumni side, and also maybe that means that the non-alumni side grows and doesn't have to lean on them as much for the financial side of it. But I think everything's really flowed nice, so no complaints on my end.
Yeah, I have complaints, but I don't care. So generally, it's been a wonderful event. Okay, programming notes. We have a couple more interviews we're going to produce next couple nights. We spoke to Reg of Heartfire. We also spoke to the Eberline Davis boys, Jake Hirschman and Matt Mitchell. Those will be live very soon. Charge, as always, thank you so much for stepping on coverage. We will talk again. We're going to preview the Merc final. You want to do that live before the game, right? Just do it live right before the game?
Yep.
Okay, so expect to hear from us right before the Merc final, which I'm predicting will be Davis Heartfire. He's predicting will be War Ready Heartfire. And Charge, any last thoughts?
No. It's been fun as always. So we'll just kind of cut it there, and we'll catch up on the next one.
Okay, go to bed, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, have a good night.
Hope you enjoyed listening to ZoomTheTBT with Charge and Hayner. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.